Hi everyone. On my last trip to Italy, I had an amazing dish, and it was chickpeas in warm olive oil with fresh radicchio, a beautiful balsamic glaze on top, and that was just about it. This recipe was amazing because that little bit of bite from radicchio with the creaminess of the chickpeas, the warm olive oil, and the sweetness of the balsamic glaze just made this amazing. This can be a side dish or it can be a main dish. It was served to me warm, and that's how you're supposed to do it, but I could picture it even as a cold salad. Please enjoy the video. You'll see the ingredients listed below in the description box, or find the full recipe on My Italian Kitchen by Chef Diane Mantica on Facebook. Please enjoy, have a great day, and ciao. This is radicchio, and it's a little bit difficult to find sometimes, but it's usually out there in some good grocery store. I'm going to be using a 29-ounce can of chickpeas. You'll drain them and rinse them. Freshly ground black pepper, of course. This is some fine sea salt, but you could also use kosher salt. I have a balsamic glaze. Now you can use a really good aged vinegar, but you really want it to be thick, and you'll see why at the end of the video. And then always an extra virgin olive oil. Okay, make sure it's a good one, make sure it's pure. And that's all the ingredients you'll need today. Add your drained and rinsed chickpeas to a bowl. Now, here's your radicchio. So I always like to take off the outer layer. Sometimes it's a little bit ratty, you might see a little bit of bruise, but don't worry about that. Half the time you're gonna find that with radicchio. So just get that outer layer cleaned off. It gets pretty beat up during transportation. There. All right, this side, let's get that off. Okay, so now that it's cleaned up, you're going to see a core. You see this also in fennel. And I want to get that out because it's pretty bitter, okay? And it's a little bit hard. So just grab a good chef's knife and cut this in half. Okay, and there you can see the center of radicchio. I'm going to take a smaller knife, my paring knife, and I'm going to cut this out. See, I take it and I kind of cut that wedge. Okay, and you can just pop that back, and you're really ready to go now. Now, this dish was not shredded, it was in chunks, so we'll do that in a minute. Let me get this other half cleaned up. If you feel uncomfortable about washing or not washing, I usually don't, but if you feel that your radicchio is a little bit dirty, then definitely give it a rinse, but really pat it dry because you don't want the water in your dish, okay? Put it in a salad spinner or just pat it dry. So now we're gonna take our radicchio and grab our chef knife, and I'm gonna cut it down the center. And I'm gonna cut that piece down the center, that quarter actually. Turn it to the side. This was the size of the radicchio that I had in Italy, about a 1-inch cube. Now this is a lot, I think this is plenty, so I'm going to save this half for salads. Also in Venice, they take this, paint it with olive oil and grill it, and it's out of this world. So let's add this to the chickpeas. And we're almost there, really. Okay, I'm going to just mix this up and warm up some olive oil now. I'll bring you over to the stove and show you that. There. If this is too much for you, you can always go with a small can of chickpeas too and just scale it all down. And use the rest of the radicchio, as I said, to mix in with your salad greens. So grab about a half a cup of your extra virgin olive oil and get it in a saucepan. You could even do this in your microwave, but don't bring the olive oil to a boil. You don't want to compromise the flavor. It's supposed to be treated gently. So there we go. Let me turn that burner on. And I do want it warm, but just keep your eye on it. It won't take long. If you feel this is not enough olive oil to dress your dish, then you can always heat up a little bit more. If you want to know how your olive oil is doing, just grab a little spoon and just give it a taste. It's really not warm yet, so I'm going to give it a few more minutes. All right, so I can see a little bit of sort of smokiness coming up, and I'm definitely sure that this is ready. But once again, no boil. Just right. So go ahead right now and pour your warm olive oil all over the dish. You can hear that sizzle. Give it a stir. And everything is beautifully coated with this too. I can see that I don't want it drenched, but it's definitely all glazed over with that amount of olive oil. If you use a smaller can, like a 15-ounce can of chickpeas, then I would probably maybe just use about half the amount of olive oil. So now comes the seasoning. Okay, give it a shake of salt. I would say probably a good teaspoon, but you can taste as you go. Okay, and then I'm also going to grind some good coarse pepper. Give this a mix. Now we're not going to put the glaze on until we plate it, because the beauty of the glaze on top of the plate is that you can mix it in as you eat it. Okay, so let's go do that right now. I'm going to taste this right now to make sure that I put enough salt in. That's really important, more than anything. I think it's just right. So let's give it another stir and plate it. And now our finale, grab your balsamic glaze or your reduced aged balsamic vinegar and give it a drizzle. That's all you need. That adds that beautiful sweet flavor to it. Please enjoy this great chickpea and radicchio dish. You're really going to love it.